Today is my first video. I am here in Kingston, New Hampshire at Greenwood Cemetery, visiting the grave of Betty and Barney Hill. Now, if you don't know who Betty and Barney Hill are, you may have heard of them. There was a movie made, I believe in the 80s, of this couple that was abducted by aliens. Welcome to the Horror Roadside Show. This is my first episode, and my wife and I want to take you with us on what we are interested in, which is traveling and visiting all kinds of locations of anything horror, creepy, strange, unusual. And if you don't know the story of Betty and Barney Hill, I'll recap it for you as best as I can from what I know, my research. It is a very interesting story. It is one of the first known and reported abduction in the United States. Now, we live in New Hampshire, my wife and I, along with our daughter. And we love to travel. And when I first heard this story, I was a little kid. But I didn't know how close it was to my home. So growing up, I'm able to drive. I go to the location, I search it on Find a Grave, and I'm like, wow, this is so close. It's only in Kingston, New Hampshire. So we make the trip out here, and we visit it, and it was incredible. Incredible. So, without further ado, let's take a walk to their grave, and I'll tell you the story. So according to reports, this happened in 1961 at 10:30 at night on September 19th. It goes, Betty and Barney were driving back from their vacation from Niagara Falls, and they were on Route 3 south in New Hampshire. And they're traveling to this place, Franconia Notch, when Betty looks up and sees a light in the sky right above Jupiter, right near the moon, and she sees it's flashing different colors, but it's saucer shaped. She might have thought that it was a falling star, but this wasn't going down, it wasn't falling, it was going upward. So Betty asked Barney to pull over when you get a chance. She wants to take a look at this quote-unquote falling star. That way they can walk their dog Delcy as well. So they do, they pull over. She's looking through the binoculars and, well, the star is getting brighter and brighter and larger. At that point, Barney decides to take the binoculars for a better look. He looks through and he sees this isn't a plane, it's not a star. He described it as a pancake, multicolored pancake. Strange. After viewing for a little while, he began to observe what looked like 8 to 11 men inside of a spacecraft. Sounds pretty strange to me. I'd be scared, and as were they. They decided to walk to their car and take off. Get out of sight of this thing. So as they're traveling down Route 3, they keep an eye up in the sky on this light. They observed that it went above a restaurant and a signal tower. And from there, Betty said that it was bouncing side to side in the night sky. She did describe that the craft itself was 40 feet long, just by her observation with her eyes, and that it was spinning, rotating, as you will.
About 1 mile south of Indian Head, they said the object rapidly descended towards their vehicle, causing Barney to stop in the middle of the highway. The huge, silent craft hovered about 80 to 100 feet above the Hill's 1957 Chevrolet Bel Air and filled the entire field of view in the windshield.
And this all happened in 1961. And Betty and Barney Hill were an interracial couple. Barney worked for the United States Post Office, along with many other programs as far as civil rights. Betty worked as a social worker. And when this happened to them, they had a good reputation through the town. So a lot of people respected them. You know, they showed up to all kinds of committee meetings and civil rights movements. So they were well respected. So when they came out with a story like this, a lot of people believed them, but a lot of people didn't, just to the fact that they were an interracial couple. As you can see, Barney died in 1969. That would make him 46, 47, around that. I'm not sure of how he died, the cause. I'll research it and maybe post it down here somewhere. But only 46, 47, so young. But Betty, she died in 2004. She was born in 1919. 85. 85. It's insane. Again, I don't know how she passed either. I don't even know if she got remarried. I mean, from 1969 to 2004, you know, she was away from Barney. Love of her life. The interrupted journey. This is it. This is the pretty famous sign. And it reads, on the night of September 19th to 20th, 1961, Portsmouth, New Hampshire, couple Betty and Barney Hill experienced a close encounter with an unidentified flying object in 2 hours of lost time while driving south on Route 3 near Lincoln. They filed an official Air Force Project Blue Book report of a brightly lit cigar-shaped craft the next day, but were not public with their story until it was leaked in the Boston Traveler in 1965. This was the first widely reported UFO abduction report in the United States. There it is. It says cigar-shaped, but I heard pancake-shaped and disc-shaped as well. Some really cool stickers people left. I believe you. Let's check out the other side. truth. Let's get the seal of New Hampshire. It's speculated that if this was the actual site they got abducted on, or if it was across from the gas station. Some people think it's across from it. Some people think it's right here. Who really knows except for them? You know, they were the only ones there that night. It's tough to say. Some stories, they say they went down a side road to avoid the UFO, but were stopped. There is lost time they speak of in this. The 2 hours of lost time is where this takes a twist, because Betty was having nightmares about what happened. She saw visions of beings doing experiments on her, and Barney wasn't the same either. So what they had to do was to basically get some sort of mental clarification. They saw a hypnotist, and he hypnotized them. And you can hear those audios online, and they're pretty disturbing. They are pretty disturbing, especially Barney's. But Betty has a dress that she was wearing that night, that after the 2 hours of lost time, when she went home, there was some kind of a pink powder on her dress. Nobody did research on what the powder is, I believe, but she went to throw that dress away. It had a rip in it down the seam. It had a rip in it where the zipper is. And she probably thought it was no good, so she threw it away. After realizing what she had done, she went back for it and took it out of the trash and hung it up in her closet. But all the pink dust had blown away. Like I said, I couldn't get to where the dress currently is. Maybe someday we'll go in the future. But this is the sign. Let's go to the gas station, take a look. Star system. I think it's Zeta Reticuli. She drew that map. speaking to the store clerk. Super nice guy. I think I'm getting this. I'm not focusing. There it is. Why not? And that's what I got. I like them. So, like I said, there's the gas station across the street. Really good place. The clerk that was working there was super nice. I was going to interview him, but he was very busy. This place is super busy. People filling up with gas and buying all kinds of snacks. This is a tourist location. I mean, there's all kinds of hotels and little shops and restaurants all up and down this strip. And right now we are across the street from it, like I said. Supposedly around here, I mean, it's not much. It's actually an abandoned hotel. And around here, it's speculated they got abducted. When we visited a couple years ago, the owner of the store said it happened over here. I mean, definitely is a creepy area. And I remember there being, yep, it's still there, an old abandoned swimming pool. Let's go check it out. Look at that. The fish are frogs inside that water. I just saw something moving. How cool is this? So, some of the evidence that Barney and Betty Hill have were, of course, her dress, the star map that she drew. How, in 1961, how is a female that lives in New Hampshire, that has no ties to aerospace or astronomy, knows a star map? Could she have guessed it? Yeah, she could have. I mean, there's billions and billions of stars, and just connect the dots. But she drew something that they say is Zeta Reticuli, which I believe is in the Orion's belt. Another piece of evidence is their car. They drove a 1957 Chevy Bel Air. And there were these dents, paint chips and dents on the back of the car. I mean, it could have been anything. But they claim it was from that abduction, that it wasn't there before. So, it is a strange story. There is a great documentary, I believe on Discovery Plus. I would check it out. We watched it, my wife and I, and it was fascinating. And come to find out, after speaking to my mom, my aunt, my mother's aunt, so my great aunt, knew Betty Hill. It's crazy. Small world. Very small world. There's things in the water. Creepy. I don't know if you can hear that. I think the little tadpoles. See it swimming? Well, not going too close to that. That's what's been making all the creepy noises I'm hearing. Must be a bigger one around here because I'm hearing a deep one. That being said, thank you for joining me today. Like I said, this is my first video. If you can hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, I'll be getting better and better at this, and we'll be visiting other locations. We'd like to go up to Mount Washington. We want to go to the Real Conjuring House, which is in Rhode Island. We'd like to go visit the grave, which we've been there. We've been to all these places, but I want to take you on this journey. We wanted to go to the grave of the Warrens, Ed and Lorraine Warren, amongst other places. If you haven't heard, Lizzie Borden. It's a great place. I have a fantastic story about that place that happened to my wife and I a few years ago. So if you can hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, I appreciate it. Thank you for watching the Horror Roadside Show.